Hello, and welcome to our lesson on the core of project leadership. This segment will cover risk management. Risks are problems that haven't happened yet. Risks, especially schedule related risks, are important in creating and quantifying a plan and schedule. But what makes something a risk rather than a fact or circumstance? Risks are characterized by the following: uncertainty, a probability greater than 0% and less than 100%. Risks with a probability of 100% is called fact and is not uncertain. An associated loss. This can include money, reputation, time, etc. But most projects focus on risks that would primarily impact the schedule. Manageability. This means that a team could, within reason, do something to affect its impact or the probability of it occurring. An asteroid crashing into Earth is not within the manageable scope of most projects, so it should not be given attention. Everyone is aware of risks. Some even point them out, but a responsible project team takes the time to identify, analyze, and respond to risks. In this case, the team chooses to be proactive rather than reactive. How can you identify risk? Finding and recording risks is a separate process and should be considered with this in mind. Executed properly, an entire team and any key stakeholders in a project are consulted and actively participate in identifying risks. This can be done in a series of independent meetings or as a portion of a regular meeting that occurs throughout the project. The most important feature of risk identification is its perpetual nature. The project team should seek and identify risks throughout the entire project, not just in inception. Risks can come from many different areas. Stakeholders. Are there areas where stakeholder specified requirements seem likely to change? What if you missed a major stakeholder? The project team. What if key team members aren't available during vital phases? What if you can't find the right people? Technology. Would a machine breakdown halt the project? Are servers properly backed up? The organization. Are there other projects competing for your resources? Do some steps require direct intervention by management? Finances. Is the project fully funded? What if some equipment costs more than anticipated? Competition. Could a competitor releasing a new product change the viability of the product? What would happen if a competitor gained knowledge of your project's details? Law contracts. Do government regulations require approval that may delay your progress? Does the contract allow customers to change the delivery date? Environmental. Would a weather event delay the project? Would a political event make offshore resources unavailable? A helpful tool that aids in discovering risks is SWOT analysis, which uses a primary grid. Together, a team examines the project for internal strengths and weaknesses and external opportunities and threats. Weaknesses and threats are often risks to the project. Think about a project that you are currently leading or participating in. What are some of the internal strengths and weaknesses? Are they related to personnel, process? What about any external opportunities and threats? Are they related to other organizations, market conditions? Remember that risks need to be sufficiently narrow to be specifically identifiable. Broad generic risks such as loss of personnel aren't specific enough to help you reasonably ascertain how they may negatively affect a project. A better, more specific example could be the loss of testing resources in Phase 3. Once identified, you can use the risk register shown in the picture. Because the degree to which the risk can impact a project schedule varies, the project team must quantify the impact of any risks as they proceed. This is done by multiplying the two together by estimating the probability of the risk occurring and the effect that the occurrence of the risk would have on the project. This calculates the risk exposure. Although quantifying these two values can be difficult and may seem subjective, it's imperative to project success. Using some estimating techniques discussed earlier and frequently reevaluating the values as the project progresses are critical factors in helping the team achieve more accurate results. Expressing probability and impact as chunkier units can be helpful and more accurate, reefing them as more information becomes available. These calculated values are added to the risk register. Once this is complete, risks are recorded by calculating risk exposure, with the highest priority at the top of the list. While being aware of risks that threaten a project is helpful, the ultimate benefit appears when these risks are pacified or mitigated. Organizations often wait until a crisis or a failure has been detected to address them, a reactive approach. A more proactive project team employs risk mitigation strategies before the risk has occurred to reduce the probability of it occurring or its impact on a project. Common strategies include avoidance, removing the risky part of the project. In the case of severe risk, canceling the project altogether may be prudent. Knowledge acquisition. Common examples include research or prototyping a product for a customer before proceeding. Transference to strategies include assigning a part of the project to a team better equipped to handle the risk of moving the risky tasks off the schedule's critical path. Acceptance. In this case, a management plan is formulated in case the risks occur. This plan helps you accept the risk while also working to mitigate its overall effects on a project. When risks must remain a part of the project, you must record their planned mitigation or management strategy in the risk register. Stakeholders are generally much more comfortable knowing that the team has identified, analyzed, and responded to risk rather than facing a problem that suddenly appears from nowhere. The total risk exposure should be accounted for in the project schedule. Although it may be tempting to attach risks individually to work units or activities, they are better added to the project as a single unit. In reality, some risks will occur and some won't. Project managers rely on the aggregation of risk, meaning that in the end, those that occur and those that don't happen are likely to balance each other out. Using a spreadsheet or word processor, record some of the risks that may impact a project you are currently leading or are part of. If your colleagues are available, work separately to create individual lists, and they collaborate to estimate the probability and impact of the risks all of you identified. Whether we like it or not, the people or the stakeholders associated with any project typically represent the largest share of risk. Understanding their potential for disruption is an important part of risk management. This is the end of this segment of our lesson. In the next segment, we shall discuss tools, prioritizing stakeholders. This course is presented to you by South Europe College. Thank you for listening, and see you on our next segment.